Get Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Whitman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, too much month at the end of the money. People think like, what? I'm getting, my phone is blowing up. They're laughing, or they're like, "You've messed that up," or it's just so funny. But I didn't make that up. I mean, I used to live that way, to be honest with you, Dutch. And that's very stressful, man. Listen, here's another. We're dialing up. I want to, we're just kind of uncovering the stress because it's so huge. And then, of course, Dutch and I have the answer for it, and that's no kidding. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. You can stop this dead in its tracks. But Dutch, 48% of all adults under the age of 30 think that the American dream is dead. Not just think it, they believe it. The American dream is dead. That's sad, man. That's stressful. Because if you came out of college and you got student loans and you don't think you could ever, like the deck is stacked against you, if you buy into that, that's stressful, man.
Well, it can be stressful. It not only stress individuals, but it can stress a nation collectively, because one of the things that help a nation grow and prosper is that hope and that energy that exists among the young people. There's like a groundswell of excitement and energy that's propelling the nation forward. So when you begin to lose that, then it becomes a very dark and dreary atmosphere. When you're at work, no one's happy because no one feels that hope. The people that are coming behind you, the younger people, they don't feel any hope. So there's like stress from top to bottom, and it's real.
Right, and then it's exponential. It's exponential. Okay, so AJ, I think you said we have a caller, so let's go ahead and we'll take the caller. You're on the air with Get Warrior Tough with Andrew and Dutch.
Yeah, this is Chris. How you guys doing?
Hey, Chris, how are you, brother?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome now that I'm at home. I'm sure you feel the same way. We were both traveling today, so.
Yeah, which could also cause you stress. We didn't even talk. Were you flying? Because flying, I mean, if I wasn't mentally tough and the guru that I am was stressed, like flying could stress me out. I'm just saying.
Well, and if you had not been, if you guys had not been coaching me for the last couple of months, I'm sure that today would have gone a lot different than it did. So I'll just share it with you. So I was flying out of Florida today, coming home, and was watching the clock pretty close. And I'm the guy who likes to be at the gate probably an hour early. I've been trying to not do that, just be a little bit maybe more efficient with my time. So today I was working on that, and I drop off the rental car, and I'm walking into the airport as the alert from Delta hits my phone. Hey, your flight is boarding. And I'm like, great. I didn't waste any time. This is going to be great. No problem. Go all the way up, got everything ready to go. And I get to the security line, and of course it's about 100 people deep. And I'm going, oh boy, this is not, all of a sudden this is not good. And I was listening to the app this week while I was driving around in the car working, and I heard the discussion that you had at one point about the physical issues that come in your body when you get stressed. And lo and behold, now granted I was in Florida, it was a little warmer. I could feel my heart rate getting up. I could feel my perspiration. I was starting to perspire a little bit. Okay, it'll be okay. Then I got this brilliant idea because I'm going through the queue, and beside the queue, of course, is the TSA pre-check line, which there's nobody over there.
Right.
And
Fast Pass. It's Fast Pass for the airport, right? Is that what it is? Fast Pass for the airport? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Fast Pass. So of course I get on my phone. I'm like, okay, how do I get pre-check? I know I can't get it right now, but now I'm going to know because I'm going to do this. Find out. Okay, whatever. So then I'm looking, and the guy who's doing the security, this was crazy. The guy who's checking the boarding passes at pre-check got a smile on his face, relaxed. The lady that's doing the security check, the boarding pass check for the main line, is screaming and yelling at people, be ready, get ready. All this. I said, okay, well, I know what I'm going to do. I am going, when I get around to that queue, and there was a little bitty gap in between the the rope wires there. I said, I'm going to make eye contact with that guy and just give him the biggest smile he's seen today and be calm about this and be happy. And I just know that he's just going to wave me over, and just because there's nobody in that line, he's just going to wave me over. So sure enough, I get to the end of the queue, and he looks over at me, and I just give him the big smile, and I just said, that didn't work. My plan didn't work there. But I just had to go on into the queue line, and as I went all the way through and made it, even when I got to my gate, everything was fine, boarding the plane. But that could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't because of the work that we've been doing all together.
Oh, I love it, man.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it, Chris. I'm so glad that you're getting results, man. So here's a couple things Chris said. He said he was listening to the app. That's the Get Warrior Tough app. So if you go to the website, getwarriortough.com, you can download either Apple or Android app. You can have Dutch and I in your head like 24/7. So that's broadcasting. So every show that we've ever done, every interview that I've done, it's all up there. Dutch's podcast, The World According to Dutch, is up there, and it just plays 24/7. Thanks, Chris, for your call, man. I appreciate it, buddy. I love it. I love it.
All right, man. See you guys.
All right, man.
Take care.
So that's great, Dutch. So now his plan didn't work the way he wanted it, but what happened was he managed his stress. He controlled his stress. And a lot of times when we're starting to freak out, like, let me just, when I'm flying, Dutch, okay, if I know I'm not going to make that gate, then it's fine. All right, so I'll just ask then this has happened to me many times when I'm speaking because I gave my word that I'll be on the podium the next day, but now my flights are canceled and you can't get there. So I'll call up the airlines and I'll say, all right, how do I get there? They'll say, that's impossible. And then I'll say, okay, if it were possible, how would we do it? And it may be I fly into a city 3 hours away and rent a car and drive there. But if it's out of your control, there's no sense in us getting ramped up. And that's what Dutch and I are teaching you in this Gladiator training for stress control, which you could get on the website, right? And I'll just tell you, it's 12 lessons. It's $49. We're practically giving it away. I would give it to you, but unless you had some money involved in it, you wouldn't do the work. Dutch, we're talking about this stress stuff. I want to get your take on, because we had a bunch of tools that we would give out for, in this program. One of them that you and I had, that we gave to one of the lessons, I think it was like lesson 10 on pressure proofing, how to deal with this, was look at the funny side of life.
Absolutely. We talk about the different things that stress can do to your body. And so you're going to have some sort of combatants to go against that. And one of the things that you and I push is humor. And we talked about having a list of movies that we should put out. Now, I actually think we should do this on the website. Have a couple of recommended movies to go to, like when people recommend books to help alleviate it. So humor is a huge part of dealing with stress and dealing with life in general. So we do deal with that in one of the trainings, and I can't wait to get feedback on that, because I know that we're not the only ones that were like falling out of the chair laughing at some of those scenes, and I'm dying to get some of the feedback. On those sections.
We came up with a list, just you and me sitting around, right? We were talking about like Tommy Boy with Chris Farley, like fat guy in a little coat, right? And that just makes us laugh right now. See, I'm just feeling good already. Man. And then we go ahead, man.
And it's real. I want to give Chris another shout out. Chris is one of those guys. As Chris said, we've been working with him for a couple of months, and Chris is one of those guys that's going to be successful because he sticks to the process. Now, you have a certain type of a person that gets something, and they'll buy into something, and they'll just buy it. That's all they do is they buy it, but they never buy into it. They just buy it. Oh,
hey, yeah, let's camp out there because you just stepped into something huge there. They just buy it, but they don't buy in. Let's talk about that, Dutch. Give me your take on that, because I think that's a deal maker or a deal breaker.
Absolutely, and mostly it's a deal breaker because you're breaking yourself. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. And when we talk about things like this, like Chris really buys into the process, and that's why he's having success. He's not having success because he's smarter than anyone else, because he's taller than anyone else, he's shorter than anyone else. He sticks to the process, and that is the secret to this program, or to these programs, is that you have to buy into it. You have to commit yourself to the process, and if you don't commit yourself to the process, you're not going to see the gains. And when we talk about gains, we're talking about having a better life, living longer, living a healthier existence, being able to share that growth and happiness with others. These are things that are going to be well worth your time, well worth your efforts. And I appreciate Chris because, each week when we talk to Chris, and sometimes I talk to Chris even during the week outside of our calls personally, I can hear it in his voice and I can hear it in his life when he's telling me the things that's going on in his life that he has brought in. He's completely all in with the process at Get Warrior Tough, and that's why he is seeing the returns that he's seeing. So I had to mention that.
No, and that's great, and you're right. And I tell you, Dutch, as coaches, my favorite thing is to hang out with our coach guys like Chris, and really everybody in the phalanx. There's nobody in the phalanx that's that on our weekly calls that isn't just like a sponge, and it makes it easy to coach because they do the process, they're committed to the process and practicing the process. And he actually texted me today because I was in Alabama and he was down in Florida, and we were both trying to make our way home, and he said, I'm going to have to practice this stuff that you guys have been coaching me. It's going to be, and I said, that's nice, man. It's good training. And there's nothing like the airport to dial up some stress, man. I got to tell you, I don't even fit in a plane anyway, Dutch. I'm like 6'5" without my heels. With my heels, I'm 6'7", and I always wear my heels. I don't fit in a plane anyway, man. So it's already stressful, right? So without this, I'd be dead in the water because this is what I do for a living. Is I'm traveling all over the place. If I was stressed out about that, I'd be a train wreck. And see, this is what's sad for me, Dutch. That most people, right, going back to our stats, most people are stressed out. Over 76% living paycheck to paycheck. I know they're stressed, and if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's because you don't like what you're doing.
Amen.
Because if you loved what you were doing, you'd solve big problems. And what happens is success starts to – people want to pay you more money because you're solving bigger problems for them.
Yes, and if you – the other part of it is being able to influence the environment that you're in. A lot of us are sulking, and a lot of us are sad, and a lot of us are beating ourselves up, and we're being a victim to our environment, and we're not influencing our environment. So, that funky work office space that you're dealing with, the different individuals and the different personalities in there, they're all contributing to your space, but you're not pushing anything out on them. So it's all about them and their negativity beating you down, and you're not contributing to it by pushing out and giving them some of you.
Right.
So you gotta wake up, you gotta contribute, you gotta give them some of what you got, and I'm sure when you get some of this Get Warrior Tough stuff, it's like you're a superhero or some sort of magic, but it's in you. We're just trying to get you and train you to push it out. So then people will walk away from you saying, man, that felt great, man. My existence isn't so poor now. So you're contributing to others. And at the same time, you're flushing yours out as well.
Well, and so what Chris did at the TSA line. He looked at the guy that was standing over there. And listen, I know some TSA guys. I've been a federal agent. I know that side of those guys that they stand there. They're kind of underpaid or whatever. And they're underpaid or lower paid, on the federal scale, and they get a lot of complaints. And Chris to go over there, look over there, and give him a smile and nod, and just give him some validation, and that made that guy's day. It just made his day. So that's what Dutch is talking about, pushing out your airspace. Now look, we're up against a break, Dutch, but when we get back, I want to talk about this environment with the doom and gloom, and a little bit more about the humor and stress control, if you don't mind. And you're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Andrew Whitman and the Dutch Coleman.